Hello everybody, I'm John Self. Welcome to Self Perspective. It's Saturday and I'm in the office cleaning off my desk, and gosh, I'm sad to say it's going to take a while. I've gotten a little distracted actually. I started reading some articles that I held over from the previous week, and there's something that really struck me, and that is this. We are watching in real time a leadership case study unfolding before our very eyes. Now, agree or not politically, that's really not the point. What we are going to determine after 4 or 8 years is whether a self-admitted, unconventional leader who's not really one known for discipline, can he succeed in an environment that's really built around norms and values? Time will tell whether the swamp can be drained, if that's your point of view, or whether the status quo or the bigger picture of the institutional norms will prevail. And it got me to thinking about 3 issues I want to share with you today. First, just because you've been a successful leader in another environment, in another endeavor, doesn't mean that your new CEO job is guaranteed to be successful. Because what worked for you in the past may not work for you in this new organization. Every organization is alike, but oh brother, are they uniquely different in some important ways. The cultural DNA, how decisions are made, the values platform, all of these things are unique from organization to organization. So you have to go into a new job respecting those norms, those institutional sort of traditions, and then learn those, understand those, and use those to then move to a period of change. I've seen a lot of hospitals that were in financial trouble, really serious distressed properties, and everybody comes in like gangbusters. But the truth is, even in that case, you have to start with the culture you have before you can usher in new values and new changes. So remember, what worked for you in the past will not necessarily work for a new organization in the future. Second, effective leadership is really based on core values and norms. The norms are the institution. The core values are things you bring to the table that you have to mesh with the people you're going to be working with. Now, there are a lot of people out there that say, I'm an unconventional leader, and sometimes that's just a bad excuse for lack of discipline. I've had to learn a lot of hard lessons in that regard. So I'm not an expert, but I've got some scars on which I can base my comments to you. You can't use that as an excuse. If you're struggling, get a coach. That's okay to ask for help, because leadership is not something we're all born with. There are people that will make that argument, but it's really something you can learn. And so if you're struggling with a new organization, or if you're struggling in your first leadership position, ask for help. It's okay. And if you're going into a new leadership position, remember what I said initially, respect the norms and values of those platforms that you're going to be taking over, and then make the changes. Third, organizations with big turnovers. Let me tell you, it's usually not because of the pay. It's usually because of the boss. And it's usually because of leadership issues. And leadership issues lead to dysfunctional cultures. I did a search several years ago for a VP of nursing operations. It was a challenging search. The organization was going through a turnover. They were really bragging about how they were almost finished. But I kept hearing something over and over. We have extraordinarily high turnover in nursing. We have terrible nursing turnover. We can't take good care of the patients. We have problems with quality. We have problems with service and satisfaction. We have a lot of problems with falls because we don't have enough people who know our institution to deliver the care. So I really drilled down and started looking at the numbers, and it was remarkable. It was 20% of nursing. So I made some quick calculations, walked over to see the CFO. He looked at my numbers and said, well, that's probably pretty right, and went back to doing what he had been doing. The organization seemed to be content with spending $10 million to kick the can down the road. Now, the plan was that the CNO would be transitioning out within 2 years, and this was a succession plan. I sat down with the CEO, somebody I've known a long time, and we had a candid conversation. And I explained to him that he was not going to finish his turnaround. In fact, he was probably going to start going in the other direction if he didn't really address that problem. And it would be very difficult to find a VP of nursing operations that could come in and would be satisfied with a 20% nursing turnover. It turned out that the problem was really the CNO, because she had been there a long time and she was still trying to do things the way she had always done them. What she did before, she was trying to apply in a newer, larger organization. Now, the organization, her employer name hadn't changed, but the organization had morphed, and it was a much bigger facility. Unfortunately, the decision was made to expedite her retirement from 2 years to 6 months. They just decided that the turnover and the churn and the $10 million a year wasn't worth it. The fact is, they stood around and watched it for almost 12 months before they acted. So leaders, when you look at some of the common problems in organizations, they invariably track back to leadership. So you need to be very conscious of your style in your communication, and you need to constantly test what you're doing in terms of satisfaction of your employees. Am I connecting? Is this working? Time will tell what happens in Washington, but I guarantee you, it'll be a treasure trove of great information. I'm John Self. I hope this has been interesting and helpful. If I can help you with your career, ask me and I'll get back to you. My email address is asktherecruiter@johngself.com. Thanks for watching. See you next time.